Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 5, episode 1. And for the next few minutes, this is going to sound an awful lot like the episode tomorrow. So if you're following both series, don't think I've put the wrong video out tomorrow. The fixtures computer has meant that we've got a lot of symmetry between the two saves. And obviously we just happen to be at the same point of the season. So today, we're going through our summer transfers with Torquay United before playing against Rotherham on the opening day of the league season. And then in tomorrow's head coach, we're going through our summer transfers at Stevenage before playing our first game of the season against Rotherham. I'm sure the odds of that happening were very low, but alas, it's happened and we just have to crack on. We're into League One, we got our third promotion in 4 years, and we did manage to sneak the title at the 4th attempt in the last episode, so we went into the summer with a little bit of optimism, but knowing we had to make some changes. The good side of that is that we've managed to get a lot of the players out, the squad players, the rotational options, the ones that had served us well but weren't going to cut it at this level. The problem is we haven't been able to replace all of them yet, and it looks like it's going to be a rush towards the end of August as we look to get a couple of loans in with a view to a permanent deal. Our overall bank balance is absolutely surging, and that's because of one key fact. Armando Broja we had on loan last year. Obviously he was our player before he went off to West Brom. If we go and search for him quickly now, you can see he's an absolute superstar there. Apart from the fact he rejected us to go to Coventry. Are they in our league as well? They are. I think we've got them in a few games' time, so we'll be coming up against him this year. But luckily for us, his transfer clause, the sell-on that we make sure we get in every single transfer, it came through and we got a whopping 20%, which was 1.8 million. For Armando Broja, who's not even worth $500,000, I don't think, 650,000. To suggest that he was going to be sold for around 7-8 million is ridiculous. So we're very, very happy to get that money into the club. And 1.8 million has allowed us to go to the board and get a couple of improvements. So our youth facilities are going to be improved for the second time in 3 years. Our training facilities are going to get their first step up since we've been at the club. We've also had another boost to our youth recruitment and facilities, so we can really start to focus on running a sustainable club and bringing through homegrown players that the fans will naturally become affiliated to and be very proud of. There's always something a little bit special when it's one of your own youth prospects. Let's go and have a look at the transfers though. It's the most important bit. We've had a few rejected, a few that have fallen through. There's still a couple we're trying to get out. Ryan O'Sullivan, who was on loan last year, out of the club. And Adam Phillips, who we had playing as a rotational option, but he wasn't going to cut it at this level. So those two are soon to be out. And Phillips we're looking at getting quite a bit of money for, either 100 or 150,000. If we go to our transfer history though, we go to the release players first, just to see if there were any. A few of the ones that had been loaned out last year. I don't think there's any superstars in there. Obviously Jake Scrimshaw's one we have to mention. Had a really good season for us in the National League, getting 19 goals, but he's not been able to cut the mustard since. Alex Pike played first team for us for a little while too, but again, not quite good enough even for League 2 to be honest. Ollie Inca, the only other one that had played a few games. If we move on to our transfers, and I'll apologise in advance for any sniffles I can't edit out. I've got a bit of a cold, so I'll try and get through it and cut out the worst of it, but there may be the odd bit that slips through the net. If we look at our outs, we've made a profit again this summer. We've done some really good work. Brad Walker, we knew about Howcroft already. We knew he was going to Livingston, it was pre-agreed. Brad Walker, one of the players that did well for us. We had him on loan for a couple of seasons, then as a permanent. We've managed to get 150,000 for him, and he's gone to Rotherham as a backup player. Humphreys has been loaned out again. Mark Helm we sold on, another one of the youngsters we kept loaning out. We got 25 grand for him, and nearly all of these have a future sell-on clause, a 20% profit, as is the standard. There are some with a bit more, where I think they might reach their potential. Christian Hughes went out on loan, another one that's been out 2 years in a row. Ross Dix has gone to Truro, our feeder club. We're happy to let him out. He's another one that's homegrown at the club, so it'd be good if he could do well at Truro. Matthew Platt, our 4th choice centre-half from last year. We sold him on a free. Stuart Moore, the backup keeper, for 15 grand. Huddersfield came in for him too, so I thought they were going to take 2 in a row from us, but it wasn't to be. And then Caleb Richards, the backup left-back, who started the dressing room revolt at the end of last year. He got punished for that by going to AFC Wimbledon for 40,000, so he can go back and enjoy League Two. While we haven't finished our ins yet, we've got one familiar face. We've done a little bit of a mix this year between getting first team players in and youngsters for the future. So there's probably only one or two really established signings, and the rest of them are more looking towards future years. And again, that sell on profit that's so important for us. So Stephen McComb is our second man from Dungannon. We teased him in the last episode saying we got another young kid from Dungannon who had plenty of talent and potential. He's got 3-star ability already. He's only just turned 19. And he's got 5-star potential and a professional personality. I can see no reason why he won't make it, and he'll go straight into our first 11 for today's game. We're looking at staying up this year. You can see from this sort of player being in our first 11, we're not going to be challenging for promotion, but we just want to make sure we consolidate, stay up, build our facilities in terms of training and youth, and then we can really kick on next season. The next one along the list is the familiar name. Rowan McDonald is back. A year and a half after we lost him for $375,000. We've got him back on loan for the year from Swansea. He's not really developed much. He was playing for Yeovil last year. We actually came up against him, as we did with Notts County before, I think. So we've seen plenty of him around, but he's going to be a good signing for us, and we'll sit in the holding role in our new tactic, which we'll unveil in a moment. Third on the list is Richard Smith, a young number 10. We were thinking about playing our away formation from last year, where we had the narrow diamond. This guy's only got 2-star ability and 3.5 potential. He looks better than a 2-star player to me. I'm not quite sure what he's doing wrong. It might just be because he's a playmaker and he's not great technically. But in terms of his mental stats for an 18-year-old, he's absolutely brilliant and very physically strong too. So I think he may break in this season after being released from our parent club Liverpool. Next on the list is Jack Lee, another centre-half option replacing Matthew Platt. He's a star veteran, rotates with our others. If we go and have a look at the reports, he's 3-star ability and rated as our second best centre-half just behind Byrne and just ahead of Aaron Davis. Still only a good or leading player for League 2, depending on which coach you talk to, but we're happy enough with him and I think he's going to be fairly solid for us. He'll slot in alongside Byrne, but we know we've got 2 good other options if we need them. Next is Ian Brunt. He's the replacement for Stuart Moore, an 18-year-old goalkeeper, a model citizen personality, which is very unusual in these youngsters. He's got 4.5-star potential. He's going to be an absolute brilliant keeper. We've just got to hope he can develop at the club. We'll get him working on that composure and positioning, and hopefully he'll do well in the long run. A good backup option, and he'll get a few games in the Checker Trade Trophy. Next is one very much for the future. We've gone back to another one of our former stomping grounds, Alloa. It's where we got the legend that is Owen Jack from. And now we've got Greg Weir. Not quite as much as Jack, but he is a 2-star ability midfielder with 4.5 potential. We've just got to work on that personality. He's not very determined and hasn't been the best trainer, so hopefully that will develop as the year goes on. But he is a cracking talent again, very good physically and mentally, and we've just got to work on the technical side of the game. So I've got high hopes for him, and with us playing a 3-man midfield, he'll almost certainly get the odd chance in the cups. Moving on to our penultimate signing so far, Miles Kenlock, the one real stalwart we've brought in, an experienced fullback. We needed it with McCabe on the left-hand side. He was a youngster that did well last year, but still had a few dodgy games, and obviously we let Caleb Richards go. Kenlock is a significant upgrade on him. He's got 3-star ability, 4-star potential, likes to get forward on an attacking duty, which again will help with our new tactic, and across the board he's just much better in all of the key areas, and he's a decent player in general. So I'm really happy to have him here, and I see him a bit like Shea Facey on the other side, just a really solid steady Eddie who will do the job, and we've got him in for the next 2 years. The last one is taking advantage of our link with Liverpool. Nico Williams. We were really short of a right winger. We didn't have any at the club bar Neil Bennett, who had been out on loan the last couple of years. And again at right back, we didn't have a backup for Facey. Now Carl Roberts had gone back to Rangers. So this guy fits both bills. He'll start on the right wing for us and can cover at right back if need be. 4-star ability, 5-star potential, and I know he doesn't fit perfectly into our formation, but if we are going to play with wing-backs in the future, he could be an absolute superstar. He's definitely a possibility for us. We've got 3 or 4 good centre-halves, we've got some really good central midfielders, and Williams and Kenlock could be fantastic wing-backs. We just need a second striker, and then we'd definitely be able to do that. So although we haven't quite finished yet, hopefully you can see that our signings have given us a bit more tactical fluidity. If we need to adapt in certain games where we're going to be underdogs, we can. It gives us the option of the 4-3-3, the narrow diamond. It allows us to also, as we've mentioned, play a 5-4-1 or a 5-3-2. We're just a striker short of being able to pull off a couple of those formations though, as we've only really got Owen Jack and then Elliot Lee or Andrew Nelson available as subs. But if we go into our squad, you can see that we're still pretty strong. There's a few, as we've mentioned, that will be going out. But overall, there's a lot of really solid players. No real standouts with the exception of the 2 or 3 we've mentioned previously. But we have got a squad that's fairly good across the board. So hopefully enough to stay up, but we're not expecting any fireworks this year. Unless Owen Jack decides he wants to send us up the league. But let's get into the first game against Rotherham. They're a much more established side, I'd imagine. Let's have a look at the season preview. We're expected to finish 16th now, and Rotherham are expected to be 3rd. So they're going to be right up there in the promotion push, and we'll do really well to get anything out of this one. We can see we're underdogs for it, as you'd probably expect based on the last couple of stats. They were expecting 7,500. We can't even get that many in our ground. So there's a bit of a gulf in facilities and size when it comes to the two teams. But our lineup for today is Alex Bass, the ever dependable goalkeeper, Facey and Kenlock as attacking fullbacks. We'll talk through the new system as we go along as well. Byrne and Lee play as defensive central defenders, and now Rowan McDonald comes into this deep lying role. He's going to be a defensive midfielder on defend. The idea is he provides a shield, drops in alongside the 2 centre halves, and Kenlock and Facey can just go on their way. Clark and McComb are in central midfield. McComb getting forward, he's got a licence to be in a bit of a free role, and Clark is a box-to-box, which is probably his best midfield position. Williams is a winger on support with McKendry on the other side. The other position we're really weak is the left wing, and then Owen Jack of course is up front in an advanced forward role. He's more natural as a pressing forward, but we just can't get that working in a one-striker system. So we're staying on a balanced mentality. We're going to be pressing a bit more this year. So we're going to do the counter press because our fullback should be high up the pitch. And it'll just be the 3 men at the back that don't do that. We've still got a slightly lower line of engagement. And we're expecting to be on the back foot in a lot of games. I've just noticed that I haven't put anyone on the bench who's a homegrown player. Which means that we'd have to take one off. So we'll have a sub-keeper in Emmett. He's going to replace Tom Walker on the bench. Who doesn't really fit into our shape now either. Among the rest of the substitutes, we've got a few youngsters. We've decided this year we're going to try and get them game time. So Richards, who came in January. Devine, who was out on loan last year, another good central midfielder. Janelle Bennett, we've already mentioned, the right winger, who can cover on the left if need be. And then Aaron Davis and McCabe from last year, with Elliot Lee, the experienced option in attack. So let's get into the first game of the season, and fingers crossed we can get some sort of positive result, or at least a decent performance against a promotion chasing side. We're going to really struggle in League 1 as we get a lot of teams pressing against us. A 4-2-3-1 for Rotherham, and we've just got to hope we can defend well. Let's tell the lads to get out there and do well. We've given them some encouragement, and hopefully that will be enough. Let's get into the start of the game as Rotherham have the kickoff. They go back to the centre half, Alexander, and now Horsfield. Those two at the back of midfield will probably control possession for them, but this highlight ends with no danger. Is a throw in the left back for Purrington. Ben Purrington this time, not getting him confused like I did a couple of seasons ago, where one of you kindly told me he was his brother. Barlow coming forward on the left-hand side, up to McNulty. Good touch from him, and Bass makes his first brilliant save of the season. For some reason, Kenlock ran it behind for a corner, and now we've got some more defending to do. McDonald heads it away at the front post. Back to the throw-in taker, but he lets it dribble out for a throw. Let's hope there's no more highlights for the rest of the half. It's a throw on the right for Facey. Williams brings it down, goes back to the throw-in taker. Into the back post, Alexander clears. As far as Clark, he gets it to McDonald. Good to see him returning this season. McComb to McKendry. Good effort on goal, but it was blocked. Williams brings it away to Barlow. I appreciate my commentary's not at the normal speed or standard, but with a bit of a cold, I just can't keep up, and I'll end up coughing and spluttering if I go too quickly. But nearly 15 minutes gone, and it's still goalless, and we've looked fairly solid to be fair. It's Byrne with a free kick, out to Williams. Can he create a bit of magic early on? Technically, he is our best rated player after Owen Jack, with Bass not far behind. Owen Jack does a bit of magic though. Kenlock with the ball in. Owen Jack scores. What a run across the front post from the advanced forward. And he's continued in League 1, where he left off in League 2. Wonderful stuff, and we lead with 20 minutes on the clock. It's Facey with a throw on the right to Williams. Clark in the middle, back to Williams again. He started that move, don't forget, and he's put Jack in this time. Wonderful save by the Rotherham keeper, and it's behind for a corner kick. But we look so threatening on the counter, and Owen Jack is going to be a superstar again this year. He wins the header from the corner, and it's gone over via the crossbar. It didn't ever look like creeping under, but he's so unlucky to hit the woodwork. One great save, one off the woodwork, and a goal too. It could have been a hat-trick, but as it is, we have to settle for 1-0. It's Jack with a free kick. He's taking all the set pieces now. Let's just make sure we don't let him near a penalty kick, as we saw a few of them last year and they went horribly wrong. But that free kick was harmless and it's still 1-0. But Jack's got the ball again now. He's involved in everything. Clark to McComb. Again, a man who's been solid so far. Clark to Williams. He's got an overlap but goes back inside. McComb 30 yards out. Another ball to Kenlock on the left. Into Williams at the back post. And he heads it just wide. But these overlapping fullbacks are going to be absolute heroes this season. Purrington's got the ball at left back though, and now Rotherham with a rare chance to come forward. Williams beats his man, and a rare chance leads to a goal because we still can't defend. It's 1-1, and going into the break that could harm us and dent our confidence into the second period. Let's hope it doesn't. But now they're on level terms. Owen Jack has a free kick. Oh, it wasn't for long. He's hit the woodwork again. Owen Jack, twice in the first half, has been denied by the crossbar. It was almost the same part of it as well. But at half-time, it's going to be 1-1. It's been a really good performance. And to be fair, we completely deserve to be level. Brilliant stuff so far, and hopefully we should be able to stay up based on this. We're going to tell the lads we're pleased with their efforts. I appreciate my commentaries all over the place. I can only apologise. Hopefully this will pass in the next few days. As I'm recording this, I'm off to Sunderland tomorrow, as Luton Town, my beloved team, are away there at the weekend. Not been the best of weeks for us. If you haven't caught up with that yet, you probably want to go and see what's happened. Nearly all of our management teams run off to Stoke City, a club that I wasn't a big fan of to start with, and now Rotherham have taken the lead. It's all going wrong, it's all going pear-shaped, and I'm not going to be very happy in a couple of minutes' time. Nor will I when this episode comes out on Sunday, as Luton have probably lost, and we've probably still not got a manager. But an hour on the clock, and we trail 2-1. I think we've waited long enough. We're going to make some changes when this attack's over. Rotherham have dominated the second half. We just seem to have run out of steam again. Kenlock knocked it back to Bass, and we can start to build another attack. Let's see if we can get it forward, as otherwise that would have been a pretty pointless highlight. Bass up towards Jack. It's beaten to centre-half to it. He's in one-on-one, puts it over the bar, and unfortunately he can't get another goal. Let's make some substitutions. McComb looks nervous. He's not had the best of games. I don't actually know which one of the sub-midfielders is best. I'm just going to try and judge it by eye. Devine's probably a more naturally attacking option. Richard's more of the box-to-box man. He's harder working though, so let's just put them both in there and see what they're like. Which roles do they prefer? Richards is a central midfielder on support. And what does James Devine want to do? There's still 2.5-star ability. There's nothing between them. He doesn't want to do anything in central midfield. So we'll have him on because he's more attacking. He's naturally a number 10. And if we need to in the last few minutes, he can go into that formation. Nico Williams is struggling a bit. He's anxious. We're going to take him off and bring on Elliot Lee just because he can get into the box as well. We'll put him as an inside forward on attack and hopefully he can support Owen Jack a bit more, as most of our attacks have come down the left anyway. Kenlock's the most tired player, and although he's got an assist, he's on a yellow card too. So Eamon McCabe will come on for him, a stalwart from last season. 20 minutes to go, and hopefully we can get back into the game. 10 to go, throw on the right, Facey takes it. It's hoofed long by Purrington, but Byrne wins it back for McDonald. Inside to Clark. Clark back to McDonald for the second time. Over the top towards Jack. He's headed away though. And now Horsfield clears it for Rotherham. McNulty's in one-on-one. And I'm sure this will be game over. It is. It's 3-1. And although we've had as many chances as them, they've managed to take more of theirs. We've been denied by the woodwork twice. And that's probably been the difference in all honesty. If we could learn to defend it would be great. But unfortunately our centre-halves have been a bit exposed. Lee struggled in his first game. We'll give him 3 or 4 to settle in because we had the same problem with Aaron Davis before, but I've got a feeling we might be running back to one of last season's centre-halves. McDonald's been robbed in centre midfield. Bass has had to make a really good save, and McCabe will clear it long down the line, I hope at least. He does. It finds the right back Wilson. Now Vaulks. Wilson's a player we tried to sign actually, but he wanted 4 or 5 grand a week, and we're one of the only clubs in the league that can't offer that. We'll go and have a look after this game actually to see if we can find out what our wage structure is in compared to the rest of the opposition, but I don't think it will compare favourably. Aldred in the middle back to Alexander. He's going down the right hand side of Wilson. Wilson tries to deliver but then plays the overlap for Williams. Null heads it down but Bass holds comfortably and we maintain 3-1 with just a couple of minutes left. The 4 minutes have been played, we're just waiting for the whistle to go. Facey goes long to Jack, puts it over the top to Elliot Lee, but the ball's out of play and the final whistle goes. It all started so well, we certainly competed, and let's not forget this Rotherham side are expected to compete for automatic promotion. So for us just looking to stay up, I don't think we'll have too many problems. We could clearly do with a creative winger and maybe another striking option. I don't know what will happen at centre half yet, but I'm not too disappointed overall as I'm not expecting to be in the top half this season. I'll take 20th place right now. I told them they were good because that's what our assistant told us to do, and maybe it's time for a new assistant too, as he doesn't seem to be judging the players well at this level. We'll quickly look at what was said about the game and then have a look at the schedule for when we'll next be back. There we go then, we're 4th bottom after the first day. If we'd lost by 1 less goal we would have been in a good position. There's some really big teams in the league this year. Sheffield Wednesday are down there again in League 1. They haven't been there for a while. The likes of Pompey are still in there. Bolton, who I'm sure have had the same financial troubles they've been having in real life. Just a few really good sides down there, and not too many weak links in terms of club stature. Maidstone lost on the first day as well, they were at home to Lincoln, and Fleetwood, they're a smaller club, although they have been at this level for some time. We'll look at what was said. We collapsed. You can't expect much more than that. We've got a really small club at this level. Don't forget Torquay before. Although they're definitely not a small enough side for the National League South where they are at the moment and where we started this series with them, they're certainly not a League 1 club either. They used to compete between sort of the National League and League 2 and we're into a bit of uncharted territory here. So it will start to take a bit more time to develop the club. But the signs are good. We're making money. We keep developing our facilities, coaching and recruitment off the pitch, which will tell in time. We've just got to make sure we don't go down a level again before that comes around and we start to feel the benefits of it. Kenlock got an assist on his debut. Owen Jack scored on his first game in League 1. There are plenty of positives. We just ran out of steam a little. We don't want to leave it too long until the next episode, mainly because we want to show some of our transfers. I'd imagine we'll be quite busy in the next few weeks. So we'll get the first few games out of the way. It's a shame some of the bigger ones and personal ones for me are in August. We'll probably skip past the Portsmouth and the Luton games and come back for that first game of September against Bolton Wanderers. And in the episode after that I can see Sheffield Wednesday in early October. So there's plenty of big action to come. It's nice to be playing lots of big reputable teams and hopefully we'll start to compete against them with 1 or 2 more additions. We'll quickly look at the wage structure as we said we were going to, just to see how far behind the rest of them we are, or maybe we'll be surprised and Maidstone won't be spending anything either. If we go to the detailed team stats, all the way to the bottom, salary per annum, where are we? We're only 4th bottom actually. We're expected to go down but not by much. We've got the least spend of the season, but that's largely because of Broger's sale. Maidstone are expected to be below us, as are Southend and Cheltenham. There are a few not too far above us, but let's be honest, we're going to be in that bottom bracket come the end of the season. Anywhere from Shrewsbury down seems to be the lower budgeted teams. But if you did enjoy this first episode of the season, please put a big thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of our signings down in the comments. And as always for the first episode of the season, get your predictions in. Where do you think we're going to finish? I'm sure it won't be as high as the last few years. I know we've pulled up some surprises in the last couple of seasons, but I really don't think it's going to happen this year. Our first season of genuine struggles on the cards, and we're just going to have to make sure we get through it. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one part of the furniture and my other one the head coach, where as I said tomorrow there'll be some deja vu as we'll be starting season 5 with our summer transfers and a game against Rotherham. There's also weekly content from my FIFA 19 lower league career and the Newcastle Christmas series, which we continued for a 2nd year as some requested. They're both out on Fridays over the next few weeks, but a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time.